What's up, everybody? Welcome to Nourish Hill Live podcast on YouTube. I am your host, Feather. I am a law of attraction, success, and wellness coach. I am a psychic medium. I'm also a clinical laboratory scientist. But today, we're going to talk about something really real, really real. It's come up quite a bit in my coaching sessions. It's showing up in my readings, my tarot readings. Some of you may not believe in that sort of thing. You may not follow that sort of thing, and that's okay. I'm not pushing it on you. What I'm saying is it is something that is serious, is something that is real, and it's depression. I myself have dealt with depression, clinical depression, and have needed therapy. I've also needed medications to stabilize myself. And it's now showing up quite a bit with my clients and in my readings for the general public. So this is what I'm going to do today. We're going to get real today, and we're going to talk about mental health a little bit, but we're going to talk about steps that you can take, reaching out, who to reach out to, and the steps that you can take when you're feeling depressed. Okay. So I don't necessarily like talking about really deep, heavy topics, but this is one that's really serious because a lot of people think, oh, I'm okay. I'm feeling fine. I don't need any help. No, and then there's other people that say, oh, just snap out of it. You'll be fine. Just get back up. Some people just can't snap out of it. And some people don't know how to process their emotions in a healthy way. So this is why I'm compelled to do this podcast today. So hang with me. If it's too triggering for you, okay, fine. You could pass on this one, but maybe you can pass it on to somebody that might need it. Maybe you don't need it, but maybe you know somebody that might need it. So pass it on. Let's share the wealth, okay? So again, this is Nourish Hill Live podcast on YouTube. I am a law of attraction, success, and wellness coach. I have several channels here on YouTube. This is more of my coaching and serious channel. The other ones, yeah, we have fun. But for those of you that are interested in really truly improving your lives, that's what I am all about. Helping people improve their lives, helping live just to feel better and to live their best life as best as they possibly can. So this is a major topic, when we are talking about reaching out and the steps to take when you're feeling depressed. You may be struggling, or someone may be struggling with depression, maybe just really sad and unsure of where to go, unsure of how to process things that they're thinking or things that they're feeling, because that is depression, right? Okay, so let's talk about depression for a second. Let's just break it down and talk about it for reals. Okay. So I got my notes out. Hang out with me, and let's do this thing. So depression, first of all, can feel very overwhelming and isolating, emotionally, mentally, and physically. But it can be overcome. I'm raising my hand here. I have done it myself. And it's not something that ever really truly goes away. Some people go through it for a period of time. Other people, they go through revolutions of it. It can be overcome, but you still have to maintain your mental health, okay? You definitely have to be aware of your feelings, of your emotion, but it's real. It is real. Depression is like the weight of all emotions in the world pressing down on you sometimes. It's like, and I'm kind of being silly here for a second, but this to me is how it felt for me at the time when I needed help the most. It was It was like every emotion in the world, all people's emotions, everything just caving in on me, just crushing me, just like I'm carrying all of the emotions. It's almost as if you can't move, you can't think clearly, you can't function properly. Some people crying, hysterical. You're not it's really at its worst for me. I didn't know how to process anything because everything was happening to me all at once. And it was really heavy. I didn't know how to deal with it. But I got help. I did get help. Some people can deal with that kind of thing easily or more easily than others. And other people just, they cave and they just isolate. They don't talk about how they're feeling because they're really unsure of how they're feeling. I know for me, I was feeling everything and anything, and I wasn't really sure. There wasn't any one specific thing to pinpoint it on. But then there are others, maybe you have, the loss of a loved one or something like that, the loss of a pet, something tragic happens in the world, or any number of things. You lose your job, that kind of stuff, go through a breakup, and then you're dealing with those emotions and those feelings, and you're not able to just snap out of it or come out of it, or even be able to discuss it with anybody how you're feeling. So it is real and really real, but you're definitely not alone. It is something that many, many people deal with on a regular basis. Some, again, just for once or twice, or during big issues in their lives. And then for others, it's a recurring thing. Just anything can trigger it. So you have to really stay on top of it. Okay. But it can be very overwhelming emotionally, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and isolating. You just feel like you're the only person in the world. Nobody understands you. It's really difficult. It's really difficult. So taking the first step to reach out for help is crucial. It's very important. So let's discuss or explore some of the practical steps you can take when you find yourself in this depressed state. Excuse me. Or this heaviness. Some people don't want to term, they don't know whether or not to term it depression or depressed, or when you're feeling really heavy, you're unable to explain how you're feeling, or you're crying all the time, you're lethargic all the time, you don't really have any motivation, you're not happy, you're unsure if you're ever going to be happy. There's just an overwhelming sense of dread or heaviness. That's typically depression in my book. But again, I'm not a clinical mental health professional. I'm not licensed to diagnose or any of that stuff. So none of that's happening here in this podcast, video, episode. But this is more for educational purposes, to kind of let you know that I'm human. People are human. You're human. We're all human. Everybody's human. And people go through things. And if I am raising my hand and I'm saying, you know what, I know how this feels. And I know that I was lost and I was isolated and I didn't know how to talk to anybody about it. And then one day it was just so heavy and so overwhelming. I reached out. I definitely reached out, and I got the help that I needed. And I was scared. I was nervous. Of course, I didn't want to go to therapy. I'd never been to therapy, but you know, it's the best thing I could have ever done for myself, was to reach out and get the initial phone call out of the way, get the initial evaluation out of the way. And they put me on meds, and yeah, the meds really did a number on my physical body, but in all actuality, it stabilized me to the point where I could function. I could at least function and get out of bed, and I wasn't so heavy and so overwhelmed by the emotions of what I was going through or what I didn't even know was going on, So it's a process. It's a process, but the first step is the most important step. So first step, act one, is acknowledge your feelings. It's essential to recognize and accept that you're experiencing heaviness, overwhelm, isolation, depression, whatever you want to call it. And understand that depression is a medical condition. It is absolutely real. It's really, really real. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Okay? Understand that it is real. And seek help as soon as you can from a reputable professional, licensed mental health care professional. Okay? Seeking help does not make you weak or flawed. It is a sign of strength and self-care. So I'm going to tell you right here, right now, this is number one. Don't listen to what anybody else says. If they're saying, you just need to get over it. Walk it off, get over it. It'll be okay. Listen, talk to somebody who has been trained in mental health care. Okay? Because every part of you is important. Every part of you. Your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, your spiritual well-being. It's wholeness. Okay? So if you have somebody out here telling you, you'll be all right, just walk it off, brush it off, get back up. Sometimes you can. And sometimes you can't. So the first step here is acknowledging you are overwhelmed. You are your own person, and no one else should be able to dictate how you feel or how you should heal. Understand? And if you've lost somebody in your life or you've gone through something tragic, somebody else's ability to recover may be a lot easier than yours. And maybe that one time you just can't get out of it as quickly. And that's okay. There is nothing wrong with you. You are human and we go through things. Okay? So acknowledge that this is just a thing you cannot overcome. You just can't snap out of it. It's overwhelming. You're isolating. You're sad. You're lonely. You're depressed. And it's been going on for a while. Reach out. Okay? So just know that you are to the point in it and you just can't snap out of it. You just can't overcome it. Okay? And don't let anyone else know, don't let anyone else dictate your level of can or cannot. Okay? You're not weak. You're not flawed. You're going through a thing that's an actual medical thing, and taking the responsibility for yourself, knowing that you are strong enough, recognizing there's a problem with yourself, recognizing you're out of balance or that you don't feel right. That's self-care. And that's awesome. Okay? Other people may be able to push it down, repress it, forget about it. Recognizing you are overwhelmed, recognizing you are out of balance, recognizing you need assistance. That's strength, power, and it's all about self-care, self-love. So good on you. Step 2, let's talk about it. Identify your support network. Well, I just talked about the ones that ain't. Think about the people in your life who are understanding, who are empathetic and willing to listen. Okay? You may or may not have anybody like that. You may or may not even want to talk to anybody about how you feel. You may or may not want to divulge your quote unquote weaknesses or flaws or your emotional problems to anyone. You may not want to quote unquote burden anyone with how you're feeling. I promise you I've been there, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to burden anyone with how I felt. That's real. I was very overwhelmed, and I did not know how to deal with it. So especially at a younger age. I was in my late teens, early 20s, and I did not at all know how to express my emotions properly. I didn't know how to talk to anybody about how I felt, but I more than anything I didn't want to be a problem. I didn't want to be a problem to anyone. I didn't want to be a burden to anyone. And that was a major feeling that I had. I just didn't want to be a problem for anyone. I didn't want to cause anybody a problem. So identify your support network, really. If it's a friend, if it's a family member, if it's a preacher, a teacher, a guide, whoever, ones that are understanding, empathetic, and willing to listen. It could be anybody. I'm telling you, your best friend, your neighbor, a family member, or anyone that you can at least reach out to and start a conversation with and say, I'm not doing well right now. I'm not feeling good right now. And I don't really know how to process this. I don't really know I don't know where to go from here. I'm going to tell you, mental health professionals, counselors, therapists, okay? Your medical professional, your primary care doctor. I hope you got one of those. Talk to your primary care doctor. They'll get you to the right people. They should definitely be sending you to a mental health professional so that you can start that process with counseling and therapy and things like that. So reach out to them and let them know what you're going through. Let them know. And remember that asking for help is a sign of courage and strength, not weakness. Okay, this is a big issue where we get locked into that. I don't want to burden anyone. I don't want anybody blaming me, bashing me, or being cruel to me. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to be an issue. That's another sign of depression in my book, of being depressed, is those kinds of feelings where you don't feel like you matter. Let's be real here. I told you, let's get real here. You don't feel like you matter. You don't want to be a burden to anyone else. Well, you do matter. And it matters that a part of you is off balance. Maybe a couple parts, maybe emotionally and mentally. There's people that can assist you in getting back into alignment. It is possible to overcome it, to work through it. Okay? So remember, don't ever forget that asking for help and reaching out for assistance is a true sign of inner brevity. It's a sign of brevity and courage, bravery, courage, and definitely not weakness. It's a sign that you love yourself enough that you recognize you've got a problem and that you want to feel better. That is power right there. Don't ever forget that. Okay? So step three, educate yourself about depression. Okay? Good reputable sources, not wiki anything. And, I mean, truly, you want to go to your PubMed.com, or excuse me, PubMed. Those are medical journals. You want to, anything medical, Harvard, Yale, Duke, colleges, those ones that put out medical journals and psychological colleges of psychology or journals of psychology, things like that. You want to get true reputable information, not just wikis and backlinks and things like that. You just go for the academic papers and the educational resources that are out there. Okay. So you definitely want to educate yourself. You want to read up about it, and bank your knowledge on depression. Find out what it's about. Find out why it happens. Find out, as much as you can, and research your resources from reputable places, okay? Read books, listen to podcasts like this one to gain a better understanding. Talk to people or read books from people who have overcome depression and the treatment options that are available. Always do your research. No, don't take your first, I'm number one. I'll tell you, do not do your research. Make sure that you are backing yourself up with the most knowledge and the best knowledge that you can in any given situation. So, you go to one doctor and one doctor's like, oh, you'll never be, just an example. You'll never overcome it. You'll have it forever and ever. Well, wow. Okay. Do your research, because you may have it forever and ever, but that doesn't mean that you can't live a great life. That's a pretty doom and gloom kind of response, but it's never just don't take anybody's word for it. Do your own research and gain your own knowledge and make your own choices. Make your choices that best suit you, that feel right to you. But for, resources and stuff, definitely educational, journals, medical journals, and read books and things like that from people who've overcome depression, who've actually successfully overcome depression. All right. So empower yourself with knowledge, people. Okay. Definitely familiar yourself with the helplines. There's free 1-800 numbers. There's support groups. There's therapy services, and there's other local mental health sources, resources in your areas that can provide guidance and assistance. So, 211 in America is United Way. They can help get you pointed in the right direction. There's plenty of hotlines, international and national here in America, where you can get online and chat with somebody now. If you need to talk to somebody, there's counselors. There's plenty of free available sources. So make sure that you check into those. Find the ones that fit you, that work best for you. There's domestic violence hotlines. There's rape hotlines. There's ones for depression and suicide prevention. So please familiarize yourself with your resources and your support groups in your local communities, excuse me, and your therapy services. Find out, what local mental health resources are in your area and what kind of assistance they provide. Okay. Step 4 is seek professional help. I would say seek professional help first. But sometimes it's a process in owning and accepting where we are, how we're truly feeling, acknowledging our feelings. And then we need to, identify if we even have somebody that can help us, maybe just talk to a friend. And if you need a drive, somebody to drive you to the doctors, or to help you get resources, or to help you research things, then, you definitely want to take that step number 2, which is identify your support network. And then, of course, educating yourself. You definitely want to know more about it. But step 4, seek professional help for sure. Consult a mental health professional or a medical health professional. And that is definitely essential. It's an essential step towards your recovery and your overcoming your overwhelmment and your depression. Okay. They can assess your situation, even if you don't need counseling or therapy. They can assess your situation. They can provide a diagnosis if there is one, and they can recommend the appropriate treatment options. So some of you may, just need a couple rounds of counseling. Others of you may need a more intensive treatment program. And that's okay. That's what they're there for. and they can recommend all the options. So don't hesitate to schedule an appointment with a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and remember that they're there to help you on your journey to wellness. Don't ever forget that. Remember that, and I'm gonna have to say here, this is one of the things that I've heard so much and I have over 25 years experience in alternative medicine and clinical medicine healthcare settings. I'm gonna say here that this is one of the things that bothers me the most is when people say there's therapy. Mental health is not looked at in a great light. Number one, okay. A lot of people make fun of people with mental health illness, mental health problems, mental health illnesses. We've got the whole, oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're batshit crazy. Oh, they're psycho. Let me tell you something. Mental health is serious. Your mental health is extremely important. And yeah, people joke about these things, but it's really negative. Mental health issues are really looked at in a very negative light because most people probably don't understand them, and I appreciate people that work with people on a regular basis in the mental health facilities, in a mental health capacity. So thank you. If you're a therapist, if you're a counselor, please comment. Let me know if I'm missing any steps here. Let me know if I'm out of line. Let me know if I'm doing a good job, because counselors, life coaches are not licensed to counsel or treat. Okay. I'm a life coach. Anybody can be a life coach. I'm not licensed to diagnose or anything like that or to treat, but mental health counselors go to school to learn how to deal with people and how to work through mental health issues. They learn how to do it. Therapists, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, they do it because they want to. They go to all this schooling to learn how to deal with people's psychology, how people think, how people behave, why people do what they do, and problems that happen with the brain. And we're not talking on a physical level. We're talking on a logical, rational, how people process things level. I can't even wrap my mind around what they have to learn and go through to figure out. How do you figure out whether or not you want to be a counselor, therapist, or psychologist or psychiatrist? It's not easy, because you never know what you're going to get when you get into somebody's psyche. You never know what you're going to get. And yeah, so I commend you. Thank you, Namaste, for doing what you do, because I wouldn't be where I am today had I not had that help. I would have probably not lived this long. And I say that because my depression was so severe. So thank you very much to all of the people that helped me, the people that I learned from, and for doing what y'all do. Now, so it is really, really real. Mental health issues. Mental health is very important, extremely important. And I say the people that are really, really strong and brave are those people that recognize that they have a problem. There may be other people out here that are throwing, oh, you're just making it up, or just get over it, or you're fine. You know what? The fact that you can recognize, a person that can recognize that there is a problem, that there is something wrong, I am off, and so I'm not my normal self right now. I kudos, yo. That's courage. That's strength to say, nah, this isn't the normal me. There's something wrong with me. And if you're recognizing that, that's when you need to seek professional care. Okay. And again, Consulting a mental health professional does not make you crazy, does not make you insane. It does not make you psycho. It does not make you wrong. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you anything other than caring for yourself 100%. Congratulations. That's power and strength and self-care, self-love. Awesome. Because you care enough to know about yourself that you're not feeling right. There's something off. Okay? So they can assess your situation, give you the proper diagnosis if one is necessary, and recommend the appropriate treatments. That's good. So don't hesitate to schedule an appointment with a therapist or a psychologist or psychiatrist, okay? They can be your best friends. They can be your allies. Okay? Remember, they're here to help you on your journey to wellness. They're mental health care professionals. Mental health care professionals. They're licensed to do it. They understand it. They can assist you with it. So don't go down the street to Barb and be like, over coffee, I'm having a problem. Although Barb is a support system, that's good to have a support system and to tell your support system, I'm having an issue. I think I'm going to go have a counselor or have a psychiatrist. I'm going to have a chat with a psychologist and see where things go, because I'm not really feeling right now. So inform your support group, your support network, that you're having an issue, so they know they can check in on from time to time. Like, are you okay? How you doing? Have you seen the doctor yet? Accountability. Have accountability support network. Ones that check in on you and you check in on them. That's what friends are for, right? That's what family is for. You should definitely have at least one friend. But if you don't, that's okay. You can make a friend and you can have an ally with a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. They're there to help you get back to you, okay? Or better, right? So step 5, practice self-care. This is self-care. 110% self-care. Engage in activities, though, that bring you joy and help improve your mood, whether this is meditation, listening to music, exercising, spending time in nature, buddy system, please and thank you, practicing mindfulness, of course, meditation, journaling really helped me, drawing, art helps a lot. Art therapy is a thing. Engage in creative outlets and connect with your support system, support group, friends, family, fans, whatever, online and offline. And taking care of yourself holistically, all of you, is it's very important. Especially, it's important every day, but it's really important when you're dealing with depression, clinical depression, like diagnosed depression. It doesn't matter. When you're feeling these sorts of ways and you're overwhelmed, baby steps. Always one day at a time, one step at a time. The first thing to do, though, is to recognize you have the overwhelmment and you don't really know how to get out of it by yourself. Okay. So down to step 5, after going through your 4 steps and seeing a counselor or seeing a therapist and getting evaluated, incorporate other things, that self-care things. Okay. So engaging in those activities. Some of you may, it depends on your level. Sometimes, it basically, for me, it was baby steps. It took me time to get out and to start being around larger groups and, more involved settings, like big events and things like that. I still don't like that kind of stuff, but, it's too overwhelming. It's like too much happening. But I can do it now, 20 years later. Whereas before, when I was really in the midst of all of my depression and stuff, it was just, it was nice to be able to go down to another person's, apartment building or go visit a friend. Going out to get the mail was a big thing for me in the beginning. just getting outside and starting to, go to the grocery store, getting outside. But mine was intense. Maybe some of you're not dealing with something that intense, but little steps and getting out there. And then there's a lot that you can do on your own. A lot of online things now, support groups online, chat rooms, support chats, doing yoga and meditation at home. A lot of self-care can be done at home by yourself. Journaling, scripting, that kind of stuff. The law of attraction. Yeah. And it's just important to really take care of all of you. Okay. So those are my 5 steps. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling depressed, reaching out and taking these steps can definitely make a significant difference in your journey towards healing and recovery. Okay. Remember, there's no shame in asking for help or assistance, and you deserve to receive the support and love and care that you need. And I want to say again, word up, congratulations. And I love and appreciate you, all of our mental health, I appreciate everybody, but mental health professionals really, they're there for us. They are there. They are trained to do it. They are there for us. They are there for you. If you are a person or somebody that really needs some assistance. Okay. So get the support and the care that you need. And I commend you again for saying something is wrong. I'm not quite right. How do I get out of this? How do I feel better? That's the first step. That's a big step. Knowing that something's off and that you need help. And it's just one call away from that, one step away from that, and that you can start on your journey to feeling better, to recovery, or to complete wellness, getting back to you again. And I appreciate you for listening, definitely. So this wraps up today's episode of Nourish Heal Live podcast here on YouTube. I hope this discussion on reaching out and the steps to take when you're depressed has been helpful for you or someone you love or care about. Remember, you are not alone, and there are people who care and want to support you. There's plenty of resources, and there's plenty of places that you can reach out to get that. Again, 211 in America is the United Way. They can point you in the right direction, help getting you the care that you need. Plenty. You can just Google you can Google a depression hotline, suicide hotline, any kind of helpline. They're free. There's chat, there's text, and there's phone calls if you're not ready to talk to somebody one-on-one. Vocally. Sometimes people, there's many different ways you can get help. Okay. So at least start the steps. All right. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with others who might benefit, of course. And don't forget to subscribe to my podcast for future episodes on mental health and wholeness in general. Okay. So take care of yourself. And until next time, be kind to yourself, love yourself, appreciate yourself, and be kind to your mind. It's a part of you. It's a part of your whole being, and it's very important. I love you all. Like, share, subscribe. Namaste.